Hey guys, welcome to our new program for coaching here. This is No Bronze Left Behind. I'm Phaetox and this is Epicadin. We are the mid and jungle coach right now. Uh, we wanted to do this. Lowell Richmond, Virginia, Lowell RVA had suggested this type of thing. I think it was Franklin Dillich who had given the suggestion to Deca and myself. So our first episode, our CEO Decavolty has volunteered, so we're going to be going over a live spectate. So hopefully it's not too much of a troll game and there aren't AFKs or anything like that. Hopefully there's actual good content. But this is or should be a bronze solo queue game, so there should be plenty of stuff for us to critique and go over. And we won't just go over Decavolty. We'll probably comment on what a bunch of the champions are doing just to give you guys the broadest insight available.
We'll be primarily focusing on the DWAI member, though.
Yeah. So he's going to be doing Jungle Sejuani this game.
Alright, so let's... While we have this, we're going to probably have at least 2 to 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes to go over the champion compositions that we have here. So while we are here, what we won't have access to is checking out the runes and masteries that he will be running. So let's look at what he's running. He's running a runes page that he's named Shavana Master that's got hybrid pin runes, hybrid pin reds, armor yellows, magic resist per level blues, and movement speed quintessences. So, and then let's see, he's going 0-21-9 in the mastery. For the most part, the masteries look pretty okay. Probably wouldn't change much here, but if I'm putting 9 points in utility, I'd probably make sure I got Runic Affinity.
Yeah, especially as a jungler.
As far as the defensive tree, the single most important point you can put in the defensive tree, like for the 1 point, is probably reinforced armor, especially if you're a tank. If you're putting 21 points into the defensive tree, like getting the reduced damage from critical strikes as the tank is probably one of the most important points. So you're always going to want to make sure you get that. It's even more important, more so than the reduced...
What's the percentage reduction amount?
10%.
10%? Yeah, it's pretty good.
Right.
I mean, all of the percentage reduction points are pretty important.
So a crit hits for what, 200%?
Yeah.
So that's reducing a critical hit by 20%.
Yeah. Which is a lot.
Or maybe I'll have to look into see the math behind it, because it might be 10% from the critical damage, which would only be 10%, or it could be 10% from the total damage, which is 20%. So
I haven't looked into the Theorycraft forums on that point, but definitely, you want to get the increased max health. You want to get the percentage reduction from anything that's slowed, because Frozen Heart, Randuin's Omen, stuff like that, even attack speed slows actually procs that point. So that's a really important point too. Obviously, all of the health points as a tank when you're gonna build health, and especially when you have health scaling on your abilities like Sejuani does, is really important as well. But you're the one looking at it, not me, so I can't exactly see what he spec'd for, but that's okay. As far as hybrid runes go, they're not terrible on Sejuani. She does do a lot of magic damage, and the mix of armor pen can help you do more damage to jungle creeps. But if you're worried about clear time, and Sejuani's first clear is pretty bad, attack speed reds are always the best. Movement speed quints, I would agree with. I like those on Sejuani.
What you see a lot on junglers nowadays is a lot of, even with tankier jungles, a lot of your power that you get from your runes and mastery is moved away from utility and put into combat stats for early level. Because a lot of the jungle meta right now revolves around early game fighting in some way, shape, or form. Whether you can spec to do more damage or you can spec to take more damage, primarily do more damage. That's the big thing that's focused around a lot of these champions that are jungling now, or in this current meta. So, if I was to use someone like Sejuani, who Sejuani has potential to do tons of damage, I would probably definitely start the more offensive. Hybrid pen runes are probably a pretty decent
Yeah, they're not terrible.
No, by no means. But I would probably be looking for you to make a pretty substantial impact starting those runes early level, at least by level 3. So.
Right, and most Sejuani's, uh, they tend to get. I don't want to say low health, but they don't clear at high health on their first clear. So normally when you play Sejuani, you clear once and then back, and then you can start doing your clearing ganks and stuff like that. So it can be a little difficult to exert that pre-level 3, level 4 pressure as Sejuani jungle. Same with Amumu and some other similar styled junglers.
Oh my god, why is it doing this?
Is it blinking?
I mean, it's not doing the game capture. Yeah.
Yeah, do game capture.
You're right, but it's not doing it. It's not loading it.
It's the wrong game.
Here, just talk about the game while I fix about it. I fix about it. Fix it.
Alright, well we have bot lane Grave Sona versus Varus Thresh. Varus Thresh definitely have the range advantage, but Sona and Graves will have the poke sustain advantage.
There we go.
They also have pretty good all-in with the AoE ults that they have there, so Varus not very mobile. Maybe Thresh will lantern him out of that, so that'll be pretty good. So we see Sejuani and Vi both starting Machete. That's good. Vi starting I see a lot of junglers do this still. They'll start sweeping lens, and it's better on junglers who are going to gank early so that they can clear wards.
The thing about sweeping,
I generally like the warding totem for everyone level 1.
The thing about sweeping lens early is you have to, like, literally there's time for you to sweep 1 ward before you back, basically. Maybe 2, depending on how early you use it. So if the information that you can deny with that sweep is going to make or break, that's when I would recommend starting sweeper. But
I've seen, the only time I've really seen it successfully used is to clear a ward that was scouting for lane swaps, and it was only once in professional play. Most of the time everyone just starts warding totem to scout. Alright,
so we have both junglers starting on the bottom half of the map. This is obviously a huge plus. Oh, I gotta turn in-game sounds down.
Yeah. Sejuani not getting any help from her bot lane, unfortunately. Not sure if he pinged any or asked in chat. I can't see.
But like I was saying, I would still recommend to pretty much all junglers to start sweeping wards, and you trade it out after your first or second back. More than likely than not your first back, but now Sejuani is clearing the Wraith camp. This is like both junglers are clearing the first mini camp on their side. This is good on both of their parts because it's allowing them to hit level 3 off of getting their second buff.
Yep, very true. And you can also, if Sejuani had done wolves instead of wraiths, it would have accomplished the same goal. If you're more worried about trying to stay near in case they do invade before you're quite there, you can defend it a little bit easier, but both junglers were pretty comfortable with the vision that they had up on the map.
Alright, right here, he wants to make sure that his AoE is hitting all of the creeps. Every little bit that you can increase your camp, your clear speed. Like right here, he's gonna have to use 2 more attacks to kill this jungle creep. If he had just made sure that his abilities was hitting
the other little at the same time,
right?
He would have
and see,
a second.
Right here, he's made the decision to get the white. It's going to put him at extremely low health. He's not going to be able to gank a lane, and Vi's doing what she should be doing. She's coming in for the level 3 gank on Trundle here.
Right, so if Sejuani right there had, instead of going to white, just gone straight up, she could have performed a little bit of a counter gank. Vi probably has a little more impact than her at level 3, and I think Vi was a little higher health, so...
So the thing that we just saw here at this gank, this is something you probably see a lot at lower elo. Vi didn't communicate enough forcefully to get Aurelia to make a play on that, and she actually blade surged to a minion and didn't quite kill it, so she wasn't able to follow up, and Trundle was basically able to just walk away. But it does look like Vi went and got golems and has come back around to gank. Now, I'm a little bit surprised about Sejuani's decision making here. She's clearing the wraiths. She should be able to clear this. Oh, and now they're going to get Trundle's flash and potentially a kill here.
Right, so like I said, Sejuani is clearing at low health, and yeah, she was on the other side of the map as Vi, but if Vi had been on the same side of the map, that would have been an easy kill for Vi to come in if he had found, or if she had found her there. But if Sejuani had either went top right after blue and been there for the counter gank, or if Sejuani had backed and came to full health, she would have been able to be full health and ready to gank on that map, and she probably could have counter ganked that second gank top lane as well.
Indeed. So right here,
ganked bot or mid the counter pressure.
So right here, you've got Vi applying a lot of pressure on this map.
And here's Vi coming in to gank mid lane as well.
This is gonna be close. Let's see if Callie can do this outplay. I don't think she's gonna be able to.
Yeah, it looked like Sejuani was on the way to golems and then changed her path to try to get there in time, but not going to be able to make it there in time. So basically what he has just done right now is waste about 10 to 15 seconds of his clear time, not clearing anything. He is here mid now to get this XP, but with the way that the lane is positioned, he's going to soak up some of it, but if he full clears it, he might put a Callie further behind, and he's going to take harass with his in the meantime. Whereas if he had just continued to his golem, realizing, you know what, like, she's gonna die, there's no way I can get there in time, he could have cleared the golems and then still came mid in time to soak up the XP, so he would be higher level than he is.
Right. So basically right here, like, a jungler's got 15 minutes into the game, maybe 20 in some games, to really make his presence on the map known. And right now he's already wasted about 5, and he really hasn't been able to make a play on the map. So, like, before this and even right now, he really needs to look at opportunities for him to make his presence known on the map. So, like, for instance, you have bot lane that's pressed up really far, so the chances of him ganking this lane are very low, but if his bot lane gets the right vision up, this is a really good gank or lane for him to counter gank, and it'll probably help shut down Vi's lead that Vi's gotten over him over the course of the past couple minutes.
Yeah, now Vi has also come in bottom, seeing that blue team had extended with a pretty shallow ward in the river.
Actually, Thresh hooked Vi into the bush, like they wanted to fight that.
Well, they survived, so no harm, no foul. But oh,
is that double dot gonna get her? Yes, it will. Yep.
So even with Sejuani there, Fizz was able to get the kill, and that was his 3rd kill onto her. So he's already snowballed and is gonna go ahead and blow Sejuani's flash right there. And he's trying to stick around right now to soak up XP, but yeah, okay, he made the right choice here. He started to back off, realizing, you know what, if I try to stick around, Fizz is gonna dive me, I'm gonna give him another kill. That's not good. Right.
So what we have here is red team snowballing, and like bot team is just following, or blue team is just following further and further behind. So at this point in time, like, getting off successful ganks to get momentum working in your team's favor is really important at this moment. So if I was jungling right now for blue team and I was realizing that my team was starting to lose control of the game, I would start communicating with them, saying that this is what we need to come back into this game, and this is how we're going to do it.
Right, and I feel like what Decavolty has done right here is put too much emphasis on clearing until he hits 6, and both Sejuani and Vi do get those good power spikes when they hit 6 because they have strong ultimates, but he's above in farm in Vi and higher level, but Vi has had much more impact on the map, and she actually just dinged 6 as well. And impact on the map is important. Actually does get shut down gold on Graves using the ult there, so that's good for her, but unfortunately no one got the assist for it, no one was around for the XP, and the shutdown gold would have been better onto Varus or a Callie.
So,
I mean, better than nothing, but not ideal.
So another thing here is both of his buffs are up, and both of them have been up for quite a while now, especially this red buff has been up for almost 2 minutes. So when you're jungling, it's really important for you to keep times on all of the buffs on the map, and that you're making sure that you leave very little opportunity to counter jungle them.
Yeah, you want to try to be there when they spawn, if not at least shortly after.
And this is why it's important for you to get the information on where their jungler started, because then you can find out where they started, and you could potentially even set up stealing their buff or I personally really like stealing buffs. Like, I love junglers on tilt.
Yeah. All right. So right there, so Juwani used her pink ward on the right bush in mid lane to try to deny vision on Fizz to help her gank get in clean, and also to try to help scout up for Vi. But that area is not easily defended, especially with how strong Fizz is right now. So it's probably not going to stay there for too long, and it doesn't scout the normal ward that Fizz would be putting on the backside of the red on that little bush leading into that quarter there anyway. And as we can see, the ward did not help Akali at all, as she's just getting 1v1'd at this point.
Akali went in there on Fizz there, even knowing Fizz was 3-0 and she died again. So, but
Not
Varus
good.
did get a kill on Sona bot lane, so.
Deca actually might pick up the Fizz kill. Nope, he's gonna back.
I actually
He
believe there
didn't
was.
have his ult up.
I believe they got a.
Oh, and there's the... Oh, he's gonna go down here.
Yeah. So now, over the kills that's happened over the past couple minutes, this is something that we see a lot in lower elo games, is there's lots of kills and not a lot of farming. So something to note here is that even with all these kills, like, you're honestly putting yourself further behind prioritizing these kills, because as much as you're being back on platform and you're getting this gold, you're missing out on a lot of experience and gold that you could be getting from farming. So it's really good to understand when, like trading, and trading doesn't just mean like I auto attack you, you auto attack me, and we see who comes out ahead. Like, it can be something as simple as making sure the enemy backs more often than you. Like, having an enemy back is almost just as good as getting the kill.
Right, because you get up on XP and farm, and you can deny them farm as well. And here's Sejuani coming in. They do pick up the kill on Vi, only Thresh gets the assist. So he's participating in kill, but the gold's not necessarily going where it needs to get them back in the game. Akali did just roam down now to try to pick up some kills on the Sona and Graves, but Sejuani was not in position to follow up and set anything up.
Well, Callie ran a really aggressive cutoff route, so
Yeah,
she's behind, and rightfully so. She's actually making the play she needs to. She's letting Fizz take the mid turret, and she's trying to make a play somewhere else on the map to get her back into this game, because at this point, there's no chance for her to kill Fizz.
Right. So what Epicadin was talking about earlier, though, is that you can deny an enemy more farm by just being stronger than them and zoning them or forcing them to back. You don't always have to, if you're stronger than them, you don't always have to just kill them over and over again. Because then you tend to also take damage, you miss more farm, you miss XP. Sometimes it's better just to know that you're stronger, zone them, deny them farm, and exert your constant pressure on the map. Because even though you kill them over and over, if you're backing to buy from it, you're also relieving pressure at the same time.
And then it gives them small windows of opportunity to come back into the game. If you get so far ahead that their fear of you killing them becomes stronger than their ability to, or their thought process and deciding whether or not they can 1v1 you, like, you can zone her from the wave, and not only do you deny her getting that farm, you're getting farm, you're denying her from getting farm, you're doubling your CS lead effectively.
Right. And I mean, like, if they're gonna, hand you a free kill, you can take the free kill as long as you're not gonna take too much from it and have to back afterwards. So if you can keep getting free kills and stay on the map exerting pressure, that's great. Now what Deca just did right there is he found them getting dragon and dropped his pink ward, even though he just realized that they had control of the area.
And basically gave up his pink ward.
Yeah, for free. It didn't help him out. It didn't last very long. It lasted like 10 seconds. You really want to use pink wards in areas where you can defend them and where you're going to get gold from killing wards that they scout as well. So, or just where they're going to be up for a really long time without being found.
So at this point in the game, like, we can see that it's a 2,000 gold deficit, but it's really important that you make sure that you're not trying to extend the enemy lead. Like you're trying to make safe, good plays to get you back into the game. Like right here, they took bottom turret, they took middle turret, and these are safe, good plays to get them back into the game. Like, I'm always really surprised when I see like everyone's like let's 4v2 turret dive. Like, that's not a safe play.
Right. You want to get towers, you want to siege, you want to farm up empty lanes, you want to find every little inch that you can to bring that gold deficit back to at least near even. You don't want to do risky plays, even if you outnumber. Now, getting shutdown gold on someone can be good, like this Fizz right here, but Varus has already gone down. Hopefully, Sejuani will be able to pick up this shutdown goal, but Fizz might get away from it.
Oh,
the
mad life.
Yeah.
Mad
All right,
life.
so that was some good shutdown gold. Varus did end up getting the assist on that as well, so that's good. And Varus does have 4 kills. Trundle's not very strong at the moment, and Irelia is not one to rush tank items, so he's not going to be able to get strong off of just ulting her either. So Trundle's a little behind right now. Akali is super far behind. So basically, the stage that you need to set in order to come back into this game would be to try to you don't have to get Trundle kills, but you should try to force things to bring Irelia out of top lane so Trundle can farm safely. You really just want Trundle to scale back into the game, because he'll come into the game eventually as long as he has an opportunity to do so safely, but if Irelia is constantly there pressuring him. And so like right now, Akali went top and has brought more focus and more attention to Trundle, and Akali's not particularly strong herself right now. She's probably the most far behind person in the game, and all it's done is gotten Akali killed, and now they can't get that top tower. So what you would preferably want to do is try to bring aggro and focus away from top. The reason Akali thought that she would do that is because it's the only outer tower left. So I can see why she went ahead to do that. But you really want to just like allow Trundle to farm on that island, try to bring Irelia away from it, and then Sejuani and Thresh try to set up kills to bring Akali.
So that's a good segue into what you need to do as soon as basically all of these outer turrets start falling down. You need to come to terms with what are the win conditions for your team comp, which is probably the single most important thing that you will learn playing. Like, to winning the game, you have to understand your winning conditions. And if you execute your winning condition, or if you...
Yeah.
If you do your winning conditions, I don't know the word.
If they're set up.
If you execute your winning conditions better than the other team, then you will win the game. That's how you win the game. So let's look at these two teams real quick while there shouldn't be a lot of action going on. So if you look at blue team, we've got Sejuani, Akali, Trundle, and Varus with Thresh. This is a very... Oh, here we go. Akali getting caught again.
So Akali running a really bad route there. Sejuani had actually made... Because the blue team tried to start following the red team, worried that the red team was rotating for bot tower, and Sejuani had cut down more towards a safer route, and Akali had gone the aggressive route, because Sejuani had realized, you know, we're not, like, they appear to be going bot lane, but they could just be sitting in that bush lurking for us to follow to get a free engage on us. So Sejuani tried to cut to the safe route, and Akali got caught right there.
So now the gold lead's starting to get increasing, but back to the winning conditions. This is it's really important. So you have the blue team who have their winning conditions being that they need they have to 5v5 team fight in some way, shape, or form. But it's really hard when you're behind to execute 5v5 team fights.
Oh, and Akali did just get a kill there. So that's pretty good. And did not die.
There's some gold there too, I believe.
Now, Varus was a little too low health. Sejuani was full health coming in, but Sej didn't have ult, and Varus was low health.
It's kind of baited.
He did not ult before he died either, so he kind of should have realized that that wasn't a fight worth going for, that it was too high risk, low reward.
Right. So, but what I was talking about, so like in order to you to effectively get 5v5 team fights off, you have to deny vision. And if you look, blue team has no sweepers, they have no pink wards up on the map. This is pretty impossible for them to deny vision if you can't, you have no pink wards and you have no sweepers.
Right. So Sejuani should have swapped to sweeper. Trundle being split pushing is okay to sit on ward for a while.
Thresh should have swapped.
And Akali probably, I would have had everyone else swap to sweeper.
And
what Deca has done right here, he's gone Spectre's Cowl, knowing that Fizz is the most fed person on the enemy team. So that's good, but he made a mistake before that. He has gone Moby Boots, and Moby Boots are good to...
Snowball. Brian still there? Hello? Oh, it looks like we have dropped Skype. He might have had an intermittent disconnect or something. But what he was basically about to say is that he went Moby Boots, and you use Moby Boots to press your lead, and it appears that, you know, like it could be seen from very early on that they weren't ahead. So it's really hard for you to justify pressing a lead when you don't have it. So he probably should have went with a more defensive item route. Sorry about that. So basically what we have here is the game's starting to snowball out of control. So we were talking about blue team's winning conditions, and if they're so far behind in gold they can't 5v5 team fight, then it's almost impossible for them to execute their winning condition and come back unless the enemy team makes a mistake. Now, the important thing here is to realize that purple/red team's winning conditions are to catch somebody. They want to catch one person, two people, just a smaller portion of the enemy team out of position, instantly kill them, and make the enemy team unable to fight after that point. So if you have looked at these last couple skirmishes, they've really set up their win conditions to be something that they're able to execute on. You know, like Fizz sitting in the bush over here, catching the Akali out, like that right there catches them. You saw the fights up here, they caught him out up here. Like, it's essential for them to catch somebody before any type of 5v5 engage happens, because even though they're ahead in gold, if they try to 4v5 the enemy team or 3v5 or get caught, it's probably not going to bode well for them. So Fizz does so much damage at this point in the game, and it looks like Trundle's going to go ahead and die to try and get that turret. And it looks like Vi's coming in, and she's diving into the enemy team. And while they were able to pick up the Vi, they got aced. They lost all pressure. And that's what I was saying. Vi went into their team with Sono ult, basically, and they weren't able to retaliate in any way, shape, or form. So at this point, like, they're so far behind in gold, the chances of them coming back are very, very limited. And the one thing about playing Trundle, and especially against Aurelia is kind of like Jax in a sense, that the fact that you don't have to build tanky, which doesn't allow Trundle to get free stats. So playing Trundle against champions who build a lot of damage earlier on in the game to mid game makes it a lot harder for Trundle to become stronger into team fights. Yeah, right now blue team's just in like really bad, and they're just trying to get something. They were able to get the shutdown on Sona. That's a nice little chunk of gold. But right now they're still 10,000 gold behind. And honestly, the biggest way for them to come back into this game would still be to set up and deny vision and try to get picks. And Var's doing a really good job kiting there. Is he gonna be able to get away? I think he might be able to. He's gonna have to dodge a buckshot. He's got no mana for it. Oh, okay, he does the quick draw and gets the auto. Well played by Graves there. Oh, and there comes the surrender. I do probably agree with the surrender in a solo queue game, because at this point the chances of you coming back are very limited, and your chances are you just getting into another game potentially like is just a lot better than wasting another 15 minutes dragging out that game. So ideally, like, the big mistake that Sejuani made in this game is after you do that type of clear, like if you do that specific start where you go buff, small camp, buff, you want to, like, that is specifically designed to apply early pressure, and you have to execute applying that early pressure. So a rule of thumb is to 9 times out of 10 start in your bottom half jungle, because what happens is that puts you in between top and middle when you get your second buff, and it gives you one of the solo lanes to gank. So especially if the enemy jungler started their red and you've got vision or you've got that type of information already, then you can gank top lane and know 100% without a doubt that their enemy jungler is not going to be able to capitalize. So you always want to make sure that you're making the most of the opportunity that you have. Getting early vision on where the enemy jungler is starting is really important to knowing where you should path and which lanes you should try to pull ganks off in, um, and making sure that like you're playing Sejuani, who doesn't necessarily bring a lot of damage to the table. She brings a lot of CC and that perma slow and stuff like that. So it's really important for her to make sure that she's able to apply that early pressure, and especially to a lane that's got the damage to be able to follow up with the kill. So Trundle early game, like level 1 and 3, he's got really big power spikes because of Chomp, but like he doesn't have a lot of killing potential. And then you've got Akali, who has very, very, very low kill potential early game, especially against somebody who's got lots of high potential killing like Fizz. Um, so you really don't have a lot of like synergy with Sejuani in those top and mid solo lanes. So in team select, I probably would have picked a jungler who had a little bit more damage and uh, who could have created more opportunities for kill, especially against top. Akali is really hard lane to gank for, unless you're playing something that can basically 1v1 kill somebody. Eve, um, Lee Sin, some of the more popular junglers are really, really good at being able to come in from behind the enemy and just 100 to 0 them before they can get to the safety of their turret. But something like Sejuani, she's just not going to be able to put out enough damage, and she's not going to be able to CC long enough for Trundle or Akali to kill them pre-6. So it kind of makes it a really, really... like it just makes it an awkward pick into the team comp. But with that said, my casting partner... Oh, I should have... Oops, sorry. My casting partner, I guess, disconnected, wasn't able to come back, lost internet for some reason or another. Oh. Hello?
Hey, sorry about that. My computer overheated.
Well, Deca's team became 12,000 gold behind, and they went ahead and surrendered.
Okay, well, I'm sure you went ahead and
finished I finished
my sentence
Moby
you knew
Boots,
what
yeah.
I was gonna say.
Yeah.
But because what I was gonna say is that, like you had said earlier, when you're behind, you want to minimize your gold disadvantage. You want to close that gap, because there's certain things in itemization and rotations and stuff like that that you can do. Because Moby Boots are good when you're already ahead to snowball the rest of your lanes and exert more pressure. But if you're already behind, you really want to care about cost efficiency and combat stats. So like Moby Boots don't give you anything in a team fight, so you're more like you're extending their gold advantage basically by doing that.
Right.
Right. But so I missed what happened after that. Also, don't build Blade of the Ruin King first on Graves. I saw that. Even though the Graves was on the winning team, that was pretty bad. So
I talked about the team comp and why some of the picks in there were pretty awkward and didn't adhere to a team comp winning condition.
Right.
Like,
well, I don't know what all you listed, but in my mind, a big thing is that Sejuani is not like a pre-level 3, level 4 ganker. Like she doesn't exert early pressure. And you had weak early laners like Akali.
I just went over that.
Okay. Well
yeah. But more to emphasize on that, like, you made a decision to pick Sejuani in this choice, or this scenario. You probably want to become a little bit more comfortable on more aggressive junglers in a situation where your team picked this comp. Like, I'm pretty sure Sejuani was 4th pick. So you already knew that you had the Akali. So as soon as somebody picked Akali, I can already tell you, like, that lane's going to be really hard for you to gank for. So you're going to have to pick one of those junglers, like I said, Eve or Lee Sin, who can basically 100 to 0 somebody coming in from behind them before they get back to their turret. Somebody who's not going to need a lot of help from the laner to make the play.
And we're not telling you not to play meta champs. It's just meta champs are meta champs for a reason. They have higher win ratios and better success.
Well, I mean,
but you can still make other picks work. You just have to make sure that it fits into the comp that you already have.
Right.
or if you pick it early, you have to convince your team to pick appropriate picks to synergize with
Right.
it.
So like Sejuani would have been a better champion to play if Akali was Ziggs. Then
Right.
you've got a lane that's well, Ziggs probably would have done it really good against Fizz, but you like the premise is still there.
Right. As far as like building your team composition, not worrying about what the enemy team is playing, but
Right.
so if you're like blind picking a team comp, obviously you have to care about counter picks in draft, but or not necessarily counter picks, but lane matchups in general. But like Fizz or not Fizz, Ziggs and Sejuani go well together because Ziggs is a strong early laner, so Sejuani can focus on hitting six without having her
Right.
team get behind before that, and they have lots of AoE synergy. She sets up AoE stuns, he sets up AoE damage, so
Right.
they go well together.
You still keep the 5v like the team comp like wanting to 5v5, but it changes Sejuani's ability to make an early it lessens
And
the probability of Sejuani forcing early impact versus
and Sedge isn't terrible pre-6, like she has a knockup and a slow, but her mobility is pretty low. It's hard for her to get through those good gank routes that we're used to seeing from like other junglers like Lee Sin and Elise and people like that. Her lane ganking potential once she is 6 is good, but it's still linear and it's dodgeable, so it's not guaranteed lockdown like you have from Vi and people like that as well. So I mean, she like you can play Sejuani, but you just have to know when's the right time to play Sejuani and when's the right time to play certain champions to heighten the advantages of your current team comp
so
and climb elo via that strategy.
so with a closing statement, it's really important for you to understand while trying to grind up elo that there's a certain amount of work that you have to do for solo queue that happens before you even hit the ranked queue button.
Right.
You've got to just basically understanding which champions fit well into a team comp and setting up favorable winning conditions. Like if you need a more explanation than that, go ahead and hit us up on the Facebook, and I'll be more than happy to. But like I said, as a closing state, just try to think a little bit more about which champion you're picking based off of your team rather than what you feel like playing. If you pick a champion that synergizes better with your team and sets your team up for a higher chance of winning, chances are you're gonna win higher chance of winning. Yeah.
So care about your team comp. Don't counterpick yourself. Play to the strengths and weaknesses of your champion and your team comp. Pretty good starting advice.
All right,
So,
and
but we'll be doing more of these. This is episode 1, so we'll be doing a lot more over the course of the future here.
NBLB is what it's going to be called. So with that said, Epicadin, and this is Phaetox, and we'll see you guys next time.